Hey everybody, this is Cromar with TGN, and I'm here today to bring you some more Rift coverage. And today we're covering Foul Cascade, the Tier 1 Expert Dungeon. This is the one found in, Scarlet Gorge, and it's kind of fun. It doesn't take too long. 6 bosses, varying difficulty, some of them easy, some of them hard. Not a big deal. I went as Bard. It is definitely recommended to bring a secondary healer, support like Bard or Chloromancer with your group to help out the healing, because solo healing in this is a little tough. So I did go as Bard. This is a full Bard spec. It's the one I've posted on. I've done a video on this one. 51 Bard and 15 Nightblade with 0 and Riftstalker just for the little teleport. And that's about it. So anyway, let's move on. Let's get to the first boss. Matron Verosa. Matron Verosa is the first boss of Foul Cascade Expert. She's actually listed as second in the list on the right, but she's really first. You should be doing her first. But anyway, so she starts out as just the single old hag here, but after a while, she's going to go immune and she's going to spawn one of her ads. Then we're going to DPS that ad down till the other one spawns and the first one goes immune. So since there's always something immune, there's always 2 immune bosses rather, there's no way to use AoE for all 3 of these guys. It actually helps a lot to have a Bard or some other kind of AoE healing support, like maybe a Chloromancer, but really it should be a Bard, because there's actually a lot of AoE damage taken by this group when you get into the last phase. At this point, no, there's not too much damage, but she's going to start casting this spell called Death Storm, and it actually hits your group pretty hard. So the best way to do this is as you see, just single target, lots of healing, and you'll get through it. I mean, at this stage, there's really nothing going on. This ghost here is not threatening by any means, but you'll see it after the ghost and the zombie are down. Yeah, there we go. So the ghost just went immune, and switching to the zombie, Gers, and take him down next. And when he gets low, it's actually, I believe the immune drops off of the ghost after a while, so you can actually DPS the zombie and the ghost at the same time. I am concentrating on DPS right now instead of healing with my combo points, because the healing at this point is not that big of a deal. But it sure will be in a minute. We had pretty solid DPS for this run. I was pretty happy with our DPS. Not perfect, but it was good enough. You see Gers is dropping at a pretty steady rate. None of these bosses have particularly high HP. It's just because you fight 3 of them, it does take a little longer maybe than the average boss. But yeah, there we go. I'm able to actually hit Lesh and Gers at the same time with Coda of Fury. So I'm doing that. And then when those bosses are down, I'm going to be switching to concentrating on healing because of the AoE from the boss. But there's not much else strategy to this. I mean, really, this isn't a... There's no other gimmick to this fight. There's really no other mechanics you have to learn. You just have to kind of heal through the AoE in the 3rd phase and kill these mobs before your healer runs out of mana. That's about it. There's not much else to it. I think I saved Versa Joy for the 3rd phase, if I remember right, since this phase isn't that demanding. We actually wiped once on this boss because I started out playing Marksman, and the healer couldn't keep up with the AoE damage in the 3rd phase. We didn't realize how severe it was, because usually we run this with a 2nd healer. And solo healing this, I think, as a Sentinel is not a good idea, because Sentinels, despite their official class description, don't have a very good AoE healing at all. There you go, you just saw that 3 of us took half our health and damage, and the tank got walloped too. So definitely good to have this backup healer here, that being me. And yeah, I just popped Versa Joy to help the mage and the cleric, or not the mage rather, but the DPS cleric and the healing cleric. Here comes, oh no, that was Enemy Ball. Here comes another Death Storm. Watch the damage. Oh, 3 people over half their health. And the cleric got hit by something else too. Yeah, that's why it's hard to keep up with. But it's nice with a Bard because your AoE is not... There's no spike healing with a Bard, but it's a really consistent free AoE heals that will get everyone up in between Death Storms, and that's all you need. Almost there. I love Bard healing. I just think it's fun. I don't know. She's almost done. The healer's actually running really low now from trying to keep up. There we go. Countess Surin Skenobar. The Countess here is the second boss, listed third, but she's really second in Expert Foul Cascade. This boss, it's kind of funny. In normal mode, she's super trivial. What she does is she teleports around and hits people. But in normal mode, you just have everyone stack up, and it's like she's not moving at all, and there's nothing about it. But in Expert, they had one little thing. Every time she teleports, she plants a bomb on the ground, which is kind of amusing. And it does quite a bit of damage, so everyone has to run away from it. And the best way to do this is just to spread out, and if she teleports anywhere near you, look for a little red thing on the ground and get the hell away. It's actually a little less easy to see than your average ground-based danger. It's not like a big purple swirly or whatever. It's actually just a little red bomb. But as you can see, her health is nothing special. She does drop pretty quick, so it's pretty much zerg her down before she blows everyone up. But not too hard at all. But it is fun. I actually enjoy this fight a lot because it's so hectic, and there's people teleporting and exploding all over the place, and that's always cool. Who doesn't like that? So I like how such a small change is it makes this boss totally different. Yeah, and she does other AoEs too that other than the bomb that will hit multiple targets, so it's really good to be spread out. And other than that, no, she's not too dangerous. She doesn't really hurt the tank at all unless the tank stands in the bomb, and it's not going to be taxing on your healer unless people are taking lots of AoE damage, which they should not be. So there's an example of her teleporting to me. She didn't teleport to me too many times in this fight. I just got a little lucky. This is another good one for Bard healing, because people will take a little bit of damage, or will take raid damage, even if they're avoiding the bombs. So Bard will help keep them up. Almost there. I found that I'm just chatting in guild chat while we're fighting this boss. Jeez, I'm a bum. I actually found that I didn't need to use one of my codas. I didn't need to use the 5% physical damage coda because the tank could take care of that. I was just using the 7% magic damage one. But anyway, yep, there she goes. Fun fight. Krasimir Barlonov. Krasimir Barlonov is the third boss of Expert Foul Cascade. He's listed first, but now we finally got things, got the ones that are out of order done, so the rest of them should be in order as shown. But anyway, so this boss sends in 3 waves of adds. They're inconsequential. They're really nothing. Just AoE them down. As you see, we have a Inquisitor Cleric. So Inquisitor Clerics do really phenomenal AoE with Circle of Oblivion, and that was just really doing a lot of damage. And I believe our warrior there also had a Riftblade AoE or something like that. I think that's what he was using. But either way, the AoE was pretty phenomenal there for killing those mobs. And then the second wave, there's less of them, but they're a little stronger, but they're still not that strong. Nothing really to worry about. The third wave is a little tougher, but these guys are no problem. As you can see, they drop real quick. And the tank really isn't under too much pressure here either. Now this third wave just sends 2 guys at you. They're pretty big. And they're actually a little more on the dangerous side. These guys don't mess around. As you can see, the tank does get hit pretty hard, and the healer has to work at it. Yeah, pretty hard. Not too bad, but the tank does have to work at it. You could use I could use the Bard CC to take one out for 8 seconds, and I have done that once in I think the very first time I was ever in here. We had a tank that was under gear because we were all fresh 50s, and he had a little trouble holding on to these bosses. But our tank here is plenty geared for this, so there's no issue. As long as you have your toughness, your 50 toughness for a tier 1 expert, you should be fine. But anyway, once those go down, we go to Barionov. Did I call him Barlonov? I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Whatever his name is. He kills himself and turns into a lich, so he may better kill you. But it doesn't do much good at this point. He's actually pretty damn easy. You're not going to have too much trouble with him, especially once you've negotiated those adds. I think that third add phase is the hardest part of the fight, because here he doesn't really do that much. He just avoid bolt random party members and drop stuff on, bad stuff on the ground that you're not supposed to stand in. and it's nothing difficult at all to heal through. Oh, and he does that little knockback, but that's nothing. So we're almost through with this guy. Tank just took a big hit there. He does cast a couple spells that'll hit the tank a little hard, but there's a long delay between hits, so it's really not that big of a deal. And the healer is really not that pressured. The healer's at half mana. I haven't even used Versa Joy, and that was after 3 waves of adds with no rests, so that's a pretty good rate, actually. I think that's a fear he's about to do, isn't it? Oh no, that's just that AoE. Don't stand in the bad stuff AoE. Even with people standing in the bad stuff, the damage isn't that big of a deal. There's a knockback again. Yeah, not too threatening. I don't think you'll have too much trouble with him. He's certainly one of the easier bosses here. And this isn't a terribly easy one. This isn't... I would say this is harder than Iron Tombs. Especially the last boss. But God, we'll see when we get to her. She's really rough. But this guy is more probably the well, no. He's not the easiest. That would be Sparkwing. But he's one of the easier bosses here. Alright, Kraz, you're done. How do you pronounce his last name? Is it Barionov? I thought that was an L, but now I'm looking at it in higher res, and it looks like an I. Whatever. Sparkwing. Sparkwing is the easiest boss in here by a mile. He's almost as easy as that stupid zombie from Iron Tombs. The Sparkwing is a big, bird who flies around the instance, and you can actually pull him in a lot of different places, but it's recommended you pull him out in the open here. But as you can see, I'm screwing up. I'm standing too close to him. So when he starts his big AoE, I took a lot of damage for no reason, and then I got smart and backed out. And that's the whole fight. As a matter of fact, all you have to do is get out of range, and he can't hit you. And then you just DPS him down, tank and spank. It's really stupid, and that's why I'm speeding it up here, because nothing else happens for the rest of the fight. So there's almost no sense in even watching it. But literally, that's all you have to do is get out of range of his AoE. And a Bard is only 20-yard range, so 20 yards or better, and you're golden. This is a totally melee-unfriendly DP fight. There's no reason to bring melee here at all. Matter of fact, there's very little for melee to do at all in this instance. Except suck and die. So, seriously, I guess technically you're supposed to be able to line of sight his AoE, but, I mean, come on. Really? What's the point? Just learn the range, you'll be fine. I don't think I took a single point of damage in this whole encounter after I got out of range. So just don't stand in the melee range. Tephra Lord Maficros. Next to last boss here is Tephra Lord Maficros, this big golem with lava and stone and everything. Pretty badass looking. And he spawns after doing a few waves of this this kind of sort of earth rift. You got to fight some golems and some scorpions and stuff, and he comes out and gives a big speech and basically tells Alsbeth that she's a bitch and he's gonna beat her up later. But there's gonna be no later for him because we're gonna kill him here. Sorry, spoiler alert. Anyway. So this is a pretty hectic, fun fight. There's a lot of stuff going on here. There's meteors, there's stuff on the ground that you got to avoid and all that. So you got to constantly move the boss and just react to that. He does a frontal cleave, and that with all the motion makes it a little difficult for your melee DPS. But we managed to get by. We had a melee DPS all through this, and he did fine on this fight. Although he wasn't able to contribute on the adds because the adds did front and back cleaves actually. Or I shouldn't say the adds, I mean the golems we had to fight before we spawned. So just keep that in mind before we get here. If you're having trouble with those golems, it's because your melee are probably getting insta-killed. Well, you probably knew that already. But anyway, so this isn't too bad. I mean, there's a lot of AoE damage to the raid for the meteors and stuff, and you don't really get much of a warning before they hit. But they actually don't damage you that much. As long as you don't stand in the fire afterwards, you should be fine. And besides that, there's not much to this boss. He's pretty much just a glorified golem trash mob with a lot of health. And you can take him down without much worry. He's certainly a whole lot weaker than the next boss, that's for sure. But he goes down without too much trouble. Just about there. Sometimes you do get a warning. You get the little flashing circle there. Well, not a circle, but a sphere, or semi-sphere or whatever. And sometimes you get that, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it just hits you. But, or maybe you just can't see it because it is really, really thin. But I don't know. Either way, it's not too much of trouble. You shouldn't have any trouble with this boss. Queen Vallnara. The last boss here, she's a giant spider like you can see, although she looks more like a tick, I guess. But this is actually the corrupted queen. What that means is that during the pre-pull event with the whole big rift and everything, we actually allowed her to be corrupted. You can stop that by destroying all of the death stuff and preventing it from being corrupted. But we chose not to do that because we prefer the harder version of the fight. The mechanics are the same. She just does more damage. I think the ads do more damage, or they spawn 2 at a time instead of 1 at a time, something along those lines. But the point is, I mean, come on, we're not here to be pansies about it, or we're gonna fight the hard version. But the mechanics of this fight are very, very simple. She really wallops the tank, puts a nasty dot on there. I don't think it can be dispelled, I'm not positive, but she definitely does a lot of damage to the tank, and very frequently spawns ads by poisoning a party member, and after it poisons, the poison wears off. It's called impregnate, which is just absolutely delightful. Then some spiders burst forth from your rended chest cavity, and you know, it's not too bad to heal through. That's, you know, a minor wound there. And then your tank needs to pick them up, and you need to DPS the ads down. What makes this fight so challenging is that the ads spawn so frequently that it's very hard to DPS the ads down and then DPS the boss. It's like you just barely finish the ads and there's more of them. So the fight actually takes a long time. I think our kill here was like 8 minutes or something. So I actually am going to cut out a little bit and fast forward to spare you that time. But really that's... you didn't miss anything, it's just repeating the same thing. Now the reason why the tank is kiting on a circle is that she spawns this goo on the ground that will just really hurt your tank and your melee DPS, so he's constantly moving her to prevent that from affecting anyone, and we're just standing in the middle of this pillar here. I think this is the best way to do this boss. And you pull her around in a circle like Grobulus. And you know, after that it's not too bad. It's mainly just keeping up on the DPS and not letting the tank die, because the tank is getting hit quite a bit here. And it's very taxing on the healer. It's nice to have a bard. It really, really helps, because the bard will help with the party members who are poisoned and so on. We did this with a melee DPS. It's actually easier if you're all ranged, but it's still doable because the melee has to worry about getting hit by the goo on the ground, but a range does not. So yeah, that's the fight. Definitely an endurance fight. It's a DPS race, endurance fight. Very hard. Definitely the hardest thing here, no question. And one of the harder tier 1 bosses. One of the hardest tier 1 bosses, I think. But really nothing compared to some of the tier 2 guys that are just monstrous. But anyway, that's it for Foul Cascade Expert Tier 1. More to come in the future. More expert guides. This is Cromar with TGN. Thank you for watching.